Barbados. A small island country surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. It's a country with a diverse coastal landscape. The sea is an important part of many Bajans' identity. It's a place of work, a playground, somewhere where time slows down. These beaches are also the birthplace of Barbados' original inhabitants. Sea turtles. They have been returning to the beaches of Barbados for over 100 years. As we know them today, they have evolved 110 million years ago and have changed very little. They have survived ice ages and mass extinctions, and somehow, although at risk, they are still surviving. I'm heading out into the ocean to look for one of the most at-risk sea turtles, the critically endangered hawksbill. Barbados is home to 3 rare species of sea turtle: the green, the leatherback, and the hawksbill sea turtle. I've been coming to Barbados for over 25 years, but I've never seen a hawksbill. Beneath the water, there's another world. A tropical rainforest of the sea. Colonies of hundreds of beautiful sculptures teeming with diverse life. Tropical fish weave in and out of their coral playground. We found her. A hawksbill sea turtle. Feeding on the sponges of the coral reef, keeping them in check. Without her, sponges can overgrow and suffocate slow-growing corals. As the reefs become more and more threatened by climate change, the role of these majestic beings is even more vital. The sea turtle understands the need for protection, self-protection, and protection of those you love. This coral reef protects the coast of Barbados. It reduces the power of waves hitting the coast, which erodes the beaches where sea turtles return to nest and local communities live. Later that evening, as the sun sets, a hawksbill sea turtle finds her way back to the beach where she was born 30 years ago. Exhausted, she pulls herself up onto the beach. She has travelled thousands of miles. She must now find a suitable nesting spot, something which is becoming more and more difficult. She needs to overcome the challenge of small beaches due to beach erosion, increased property development, lounges on the beach where she could crawl under and become trapped. Time is also of the essence. Out of the water, she is vulnerable to hunters, poachers operating the beaches, seeking out sea turtles to kill for their meat, eggs and shells. But not giving up, this remarkable lady finds a spot. She sweeps the sand with her back flippers, digging an egg chamber. Here she will lay around 65 to 115 eggs, but before these sea turtles even hatch, they are already under threat. Carla Daniels, the director of the Barbados Sea Turtle Project, has devoted her time to save these remarkable creatures.
Sea turtles have a remarkable life cycle. At every stage of that life cycle, there are different threats. So when those eggs are laid on the beach, in order for them to hatch successfully, they need to be secure in that space. The nesting season for the hawksbill turtle, for example, runs from June to November, and it coincides perfectly with the hurricane season in the Caribbean. So at times we get storms and hurricanes passing through, really large waves, and those waves batter the coastline, taking lots of sand with it. And depending on the time of the year when it happens, it can take thousands of turtle eggs with it as well. It's really like a laundry list of threats. And then as we begin to experience a changing climate, there's increased threats. So temperature is one really interesting one, because the sex of sea turtle eggs is determined by the temperature during a pivotal time period during incubation. And if that temperature is really high, then all of those eggs develop into female embryos, and you end up getting all female hatchlings. And that is good to a point, because male turtles will mate with almost any female they can find, but as those males die, they need to be replaced in the population. And as our beaches are getting warmer and warmer, many of the beaches become feminized, and all of the hatchlings that are produced on those beaches are female. But then there's also the fact that if it keeps getting warmer, then it's not just the sex ratio you have to worry about, you just have to worry about the viability of the eggs, period. So many islands in the Caribbean, Barbados isn't one, but some of the islands are volcanic, so they have black sand. And you can imagine when we get these soaring summer temperatures, exactly how hot that sand gets. So in some cases, the eggs are killed. And that is kind of an evolving threat that as our summers get warmer and warmer, we're seeing more of the impact.
Later that night, there is a disturbance under the sand. After 5 days of digging, the hatchlings have finally reached the surface. But the race is far from over. Following the moonlight, they must now race to the water, evading predators. But bright lights along the coast can confuse the young hatchlings. The artificial lights overwhelm the moon's glow, and some can begin their trek inland towards the hotels, bars and roads. Dehydrated and exhausted, these rare leatherback hatchlings are using up important energy reserves. Energy crucial for the next stage they are about to commence, a swimming frenzy into the blue. Any delay in reaching the deeper waters, abundant with food for these exhausted hatchlings, could be fatal. But fortunately, for these young hatchlings, their future looks brighter, thanks to people like Carla and the local Barbadians who are rising to the challenges to reduce the threats that sea turtles currently face.
The Barbados Sea Turtle Project is a conservation project on the island of Barbados that was established in the late 1980s. So we've been around for quite a while. Initially, when the project started, there was still an open season on sea turtles. One of the first actions of the project was to lobby for an end to that. And in 1998, a moratorium was passed, and it became illegal for persons to consume sea turtle meat and eggs in Barbados. So one of the first things that the project did when it was established was to survey the island, determine what species were nesting here, what the primary threats were. They created a document called a STRAP, which is a Sea Turtle Action Recovery Plan, and then they just set out to implement that plan. One of the strategies that they implemented was the creation of a 24-hour sea turtle hotline that persons could call to report sea turtle emergencies, whether they were in danger, in need of help. It also helped to facilitate data collection, and we started a monitoring program where we do It's called saturation tagging. It sounds really fancy, but it just means that during the nesting season for 4 months, we attempt to see every single turtle that comes onto that beach to nest, and we attempt to record them. So if they're tagged, we record the tag numbers. If they're not tagged, we tag them. So the project has grown because back in the early 1990s, we had maybe about 50 individual nesting females that would be recorded annually. Fast forward now into the 2000s, we're recording 600 plus individual nesting females. We've also had, significant increases in development as the island's economy has evolved and its tourism product has evolved. So now there's a lot of kind of human and wildlife interactions to manage as well. So we have a cohort usually of between, I would say, 15 to 30 volunteers that join us every nesting season. And so every day from the very 1st of June to the 15th of November, we have teams on the beach both day and night, patrolling, collecting data, and every hatchling that emerges makes its way to the water safely so it has a chance at life.
Embodying virtues of strength and ancient wisdom, together we can create a healthier planet for us and all the citizens we share this magnificent world with. Carla shares her final parting message to us.
One of the things that really stays with me is the need to celebrate small victories. And every single year we rescue loads of hatchlings. In 2022, we rescued 62,008 hatchlings, helping them to return safely to the sea. Yes, there have been losses. Yes, the mountain seems higher every single year that we have to climb, but every single turtle that we rescue is a turtle that has a chance at a future. So we're not able necessarily to hold its flipper and, to keep it safe for the next 30 years when it will become mature. But we've done every single thing that we can. And that is something that I find a great deal of comfort in, regardless of whatever is going on around us in the international arena, national and governmental decisions, development, climate change, agreements, war, whatever else is going on the planet. We have to focus on the small changes that we are each individually able to make, and we have to be assured that we have made a difference.
They are resilient. They fight. They never give up. But it's getting harder.